Good afternoon, Radio Faithfuls. You are on to the news on Reality 8.4 FM. Let's have the headlines. At the forefront, preparations for the 60th edition of the National Youth Days in full swing. Earlier today, the streets of Yaoundé were transformed into a vibrant rehearsal ground as students from various institutions took part in intensive drills.
I am excited to be here for the final rehearsal of the 11th February match.
I am very happy to come here to march for 11th February.
Out of the country, we head to Nigeria, where a series of coordinated attacks in Kwara State on Tuesday has left about 30 people dead. And in sports, match day 3 of the Elite One Championship is on. 5 matches are expected to be played today, while 2 more will come up tomorrow to put a cap to match day 3 of the Elite One Championship. Those were the headlines. Stay tuned for the development of these stories and several others. Good afternoon once more. We begin with our headline story, where in anticipation of this year's Youth Day celebration, more than 30 schools ranging from nursery, primary and secondary levels gathered today along the Wadatinga stretch for final preparations. The atmosphere was vibrant as students perfected their march pass, masquerade routines and various cultural displays. Our newsroom on that light caught up with the students on site to gauge their excitement and readiness. Here is their insight.
My name is Obasena Isa Rejoice Kone. I'm in class 6. I am very happy to come here to march for 11th February.
My name is Inogomba Yowan Joaquim. I am in class 6. I am happy today to march and I am excited to be here for the final rehearsal of the 11th February match.
Our newsroom equally spoke with one of the private school teachers who outlined the rigorous training schedules ahead of this year's edition of the Youth Day celebration.
My name is Osong Peter. I am the head teacher of Evangel Nursery and Primary School, Chinga. This morning we have come here for the final rehearsals of the march past, which is previewed for Wednesday, the 11th of February. We've come to do our final rehearsals to be sure that the march past will be perfect and excellent on Wednesday. Actually, we have laid a lot of emphasis and value on this particular activity. We have done a lot of rehearsals. We have masquerade practices that we've done. There are also dancing competitions and singing competitions that we have also prepared. But right away, what we have come here to do is just for the rehearsals of the march past.
This year's theme is slated Youth at the Heart of Greatness, Hope for United, Stable and Prosperous Cameroon. In today's newscast, we look at national unity as some Cameroonians, their take and their contributions to national unity. Details with our reporter Ngang Nadesh.
Cameroonians are taking the unity theme of National Youth Day with a pinch of salt, with many voices questioning whether the call for unity rings hollow without addressing the systematic divides and challenges holding the youth back. Fuche is one of them.
It's actually good in a way because it helps us to fight against transit, war, foster prosperity within citizens. But our focus should not be on making prosperous Cameroon when their lives are not prosperous. Leaders of tomorrow that are not even leading today. Cameroonian youth have to get into the mix and help themselves first, their community and help the country, not just being united and peaceful for a prosperous Cameroon. If we be prosperous ourselves, then it makes it easier for the country to.
Kellyman adds bluntly that unity in Cameroon is almost just a myth, adding that for it to be realized, there has to be a more collective effort.
Unity in Cameroon right now is quite far-fetched, and we all know why. And worst of all, having to put it that the youth are the heart for the unity when the youth themselves are not even united within themselves, are not united as persons. They are not even put together. They don't even know what it takes to have a united country at the moment. They say little drops of water makes an ocean, but I don't know how that works in this country, because no matter how 5% out of 95% of people are trying to make peace and create unity in the country, the effort seems to go to waste almost all the time.
Jeremy Romy believes that many initiatives are merely theoretical and stresses the need for the government to involve more young people in decision-making processes for tangible change.
The reality for many youth contrasts sharply with this hopeful message, like high unemployment, limited access to quality education and skills, economic hardship, and social instability remain daily challenges among Cameroonian youth. But despite being described as the heart of national hopes, many young people feel excluded from decision-making as leadership and key government positions are largely occupied by the older generation.
As Cameroon gears up to celebrate National Youth Day, there is a concerning trend. A surge in viral videos showcasing youth involved in social ills, indicating that there is the need to take measures to reshape the foundation on which the future is being built.
Activities to mark the 60th Youth Day in Cameroon continues today at the Youth Village in Yaoundé, hosted by the National Museum. A civic awareness program took place in the morning, followed by discussions between young people and government representatives from the defense, security, and financial administration sectors. Yesterday, the ministers of secondary education as well as that of communication, including sports and physical education minister, responded to the diverse worries from young citizens who were present during the roundtable discussion at the Youth Village. Let's now take a listen to Secondary Education Minister Professor Pauline Nalova-Lyonga during one of her intervention on the microphone of Annie-Lisette Ambassa.
Now, you asked about what is there for the child who does not know what profession he wants to do after the first cycle. So that is to say, after O-level. So from A-level upwards. And I regret to say that that's not a very good sign. If there is any child who up till Form 5 does not know what he or she wants to be, then there's something wrong in the way that he has carried out his education. Because there are ways for you to have that information. And every child that you're sending to education should have that as an arm, as something that he should find out. First of all, the child should know that we have primary, secondary, and high school, and now university.
Notably, these celebrations are set to conclude this evening with the opening ceremony of the National Youth Camp at the University of Yaoundé 1, the Ngwaikele neighborhood. Still talking about the Diamond Jubilee of the National Youth Day to be celebrated on Wednesday, February 11, 2026. Our newsroom this afternoon set sight on the role of a junior parliamentarian, the activities, and how to become one. In this regard, Evans Williams Jobati approached Kotem Prince Will, a former junior parliamentarian, and clues in this report.
Kotem Prince Will begins by detailing out the selection of a junior parliamentarian.
Junior parliamentarians consist of young people in the elementary levels like primary schools, to an extent secondary schools, below the age of 18. They've been selected as per their academic excellence, their diversity in their education and other community work. Usually they are being chosen from their school by the administration. Sometimes they go through UNESCO, other times they go through the Ministry of Youth Affairs. They are known as junior parliamentarians.
In the same light, our former junior parliamentarian further outlines the reasons for coming up with this concept.
The ministers thought it necessary that in implementation of the president's speech, and they should come up with a representative quota of young people who can be able to lead their community, lead projects in their community. So they conceived the idea, youth parliamentarians and youth senators. Like the senior parliamentarians, there are 180 of them representing all the 180 constituencies in the country.
And talking about the criteria of being selected as a young MP, Kotem Prince Will says,
they are choosing based on criteria. Usually, every December, the Minister of Youth Affairs and Civic Education of Cameroon signs a communique laying out the modalities for someone to become a youth parliamentarian or a youth senator. Some of those modalities say, for example, you need to be a youth leader impacting your community in one way or the other, whether in civil society, whether in organizational sphere, whether in a political sphere, whether in entrepreneurship, and so on.
Citing himself as an example, Kotem Prince will form the batch of 2024 recalls some of his experience.
He recognizes these young people, pick them out from their community, then projects them out national-wide and international-wide. For example, in 2023, I was a lone youth parliamentarian in Cameroon who was at the World Youth Festival in Russia. I was able to see different states of Russia. I was received by the Cameroon ambassador to Russia. It's because I have been working from the grassroots, and then that project had to project me.
The mandate of a junior parliamentarian in Cameroon is generally 1 year, but according to some programs like the Model United Nations Young Leaders Parliament, the initial 1 year membership is not directly renewable in the same position, but members can apply to join the junior senate for subsequent terms.
Today, February 4, is being marked as World Cancer Day, led by the Union for International Care Control. World Cancer Day is set to raise awareness of cancer and to encourage its prevention, detection and treatment. The theme for this year is United by Unique, which streams as part of a 3-year-long campaign highlighting that every cancer journey is unique while staying united to promote care and decrease inequalities. It also focuses on a person-centered care, comparison and seeing the person before the patient. Let's now take this story about a snake bite which led to the death of a certain citizen in Nigeria. The 26-year-old rising star died on Saturday, January 31st in Abuja, and according to videos shared on social media, a corporal was removed from the apartment afterwards. Ifunanya passed after being rushed to the second clinic as the first did not have any anti-venom. On this note, our reporter Glory Ngange questioned a health expert on how to manage a snake bite before medical care. Here is our report.
Every snake bite should be treated as a medical emergency, as some snakes are venomous and their bite can be life-threatening. A Hebrew Courage is a nurse.
The first thing the person will do is, if they can get any strong cloth that cannot cut easily, they use it to tie above the spot where that snake bites. Tie it so firmly so that the venom of the snake will not flow into the body.
Unlike what we know about cutting the portion where the bite occurred or pouring ice like some people have it, the health expert emphasizes on the following first aid tips.
If there is jewelry or the cloth around that area tight, they lose it. Let's say on the hand or on the leg, so that place will be free. Because if the jewelry or the clothing at that place is tight, it will make that place to swell easily. You keep the victim stable and calm.
A first aid is not the treatment for snake bites. Thus, the victim should be taken to a health facility within the shortest period of time for better attention, as Hebrew Courage stresses.
Snake venom is poisonous, and where the snake bites the person, the doctor will not be there, or the person might not be close to hospital. That phase 8 is just for the main time. Then the victim should be rushed to the hospital as soon as possible, because that first aid is just to save the person at that main time.
Hospital management of snake bites focuses on urgent assessment for envenomation, stabilization, and prompt administration of antivenom if needed. Treatment includes close monitoring, wound care, pain management, and tetanus prophylaxis.
In economy, as the IMF mission continues in Cameroon, technical discussions with government officials and economic actors are ongoing. These talks aim to turn economic analysis into concrete recommendations to strengthen public finance management and support the country's economic stability. To better understand the implications of this IMF mission for Cameroon, Jeffrey Tachung spoke with an economic expert and compiled the following report.
Cameroon is currently hosting an International Monetary Fund mission aimed at reviewing the country's economic policies and public finance management. As technical discussions with the IMF, government administrations and economic actors are underway, experts focus on how this can translate into concrete recommendations. Valerie Asundep, economics experts.
The first thing is diagnosis. The second thing is prioritization. The third thing is implementation. And the fourth one is monitoring. So the bottom line, IMF programs can improve fiscal discipline, right? Transparency and credibility, but only if reforms are politically owned and executed. Without this, Cameroon risk bearing social cost without lasting government gains.
And as far as social spending are concerned, the economist enumerates prominent factors such as finance and diagnosis, amongst others.
The impact of a new IMF program on Cameroonian citizens will have the following repercussions. So on the purchasing power, right? In the short term, the IMF programs often reduce purchasing power due to subsidy cuts.
While the IMF mission provides guidance and concrete recommendations to improve public finance, experts stress that lasting results will depend on Cameroon's commitment to reforms, fiscal discipline, and effective implementation of these measures.
Let's now find out what is making news out of Cameroon with our senior reporter and editor-in-chief, Mapala Zita. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Brian.
Zita, we begin in neighboring Nigeria, where gunmen have killed more than 30 people in Kwara State.
Armed men have killed at least 35 people and burnt homes and shops in Woro, that's a remote village in Nigeria's north-central Kwara State. A local lawmaker in the Kayama region, Saidu Baba Ahmed, told pressmen today that this morning some 35 to 40 dead bodies were counted, while many others escaped into the bushes with gunshots. He also added that more bodies could be found. Ahmed further said several people were still missing. The attack was confirmed by police, who did not provide casualty figures, while the state government has blamed it on terrorist cells.
Zita, you say the leader of South Africa's second largest party will not seek re-election.
South Africa's Democratic Alliance, the DA party's leader, John Steenhuisen, has said he will not seek re-election as the party's leader in April, a move that may threaten the stability of the coalition government. The DA, which is South Africa's second largest party, entered into a coalition with its ace rival, the African National Congress, in 2024 after the ANC lost its parliamentary majority. Steenhuisen took over leadership of the pro-business DA in 2019 and currently serves as agriculture minister in President Cyril Ramaphosa's government. He was widely expected to run again, but was reportedly forced to abandon his bid because of several controversies.
Over in Somali, a woman has been executed for murdering a child in a case that sparked outrage in the country.
Authorities in Puntland, a semi-autonomous region of Somalia, have executed a 34-year-old Hodan Mohamud Diriye, who was convicted for murdering a 14-year-old girl in a rare case in the region where the death penalty has been carried out against a woman. Diriye was killed by firing squad on Tuesday in the city of Galkayo after a court found her guilty of beating to death the teenager who had been working as a domestic helper. The killing of the 14-year-old Sabirin last November sparked protests in Galkayo, along with renewed calls for greater child protection. Members of both Sabirin and Diriye's families were present during the execution of the sentence, which was carried out under Qisas, an Islamic legal principle that allows the family of a murder victim to demand execution rather than accept financial compensation.
From Somalia, Zita, we end in South Sudan, where the country's leader has sacked some of his aides after a dead man's appointment.
President Salva Kiir has sacked 2 senior assistants following an embarrassing situation where he appointed a dead man to serve as a panel to lead discussions on elections scheduled for December this year. Stewart Soroba Budia's appointment was announced in a presidential order dated the 30th of January 2026, but local media pointed out that the member of the opposition United Democratic Party had died 5 years ago. It led to people mocking the appointment on social media and without giving reasons. An official statement said the president had sacked his press secretary, David Amour Major, and the chief administrator in the Ministry of Presidential Affairs, Valentino Del Maluet.
In sports, the Cameroon Cricket Federation, in collaboration with the National Office in charge of football infrastructure, is set to officially launch the 2026 cricket sports season with the Japoma Diamond Day from February 6th to the 8th of February 2026. The three-day event will kick off at the Japoma Next One Stadium on Saturday, February 7, featuring female development gala match and an all-day cricket equipment exhibition. Here is an excerpt of the president of the Cameroon Cricket Federation, who explains why the choice of Douala.
Douala is out of Yaoundé. Choosing Douala for the 2026 cricket sports season launch because we have to stretch out. We have to move out of Yaoundé. Last year we were in Limbe and Douala. This year we are going back to Douala, and we have the advantage of associating ourselves with the Japoma Diamond Days that Onyes is organizing. So it's a good one that will take advantage of this and launch the season, because by doing this in conjunction with Onyes, it has its related advantages to the federation as well. So number of factors, like you can see, contribute to this, and paramount too is part of the cricket popularization strategy. Cricket must grow. Cricket must not only be played in Yaoundé. It's a very huge project, so we are moving step by step and gradually, surely making our mark being felt in the country.
From there, we talk futsal, where Cameroon's path to the 2026 Futsal African Cup of Nations has hit a massive roadblock after the team lost by 12 goals to nothing against Angola at the Yaoundé Multipurpose Sports Complex yesterday. Despite weeks of preparation and the home court advantage, the team was unable to contain their Angolan offense, leaving their qualification hopes hanging by a thread. In the views that follows, the head coach of the Angola national team attributes Cameroon's defeat to several technical lapses. Take a listen.
I think so, because we didn't know how the level that Cameroon was playing. In this case, I saw it was it was a game only for story, because I checked that the level is so down.
Cameroon are still new in futsal.
You are very strong team physically and technically so. But tactically it's very bad now, because you are beginning this now much. But I think you have a lot of work to do. But we can help you to develop the futsal in Cameroon. But about the performance of my team, I see it was very a good performance. Yeah, the same way, because this game we must do like a very intenseful training for how, and to show the Cameroon how hard they must work to come in our level. It's very important for the development teams that are beginning right now, and the respect that we must play our level to respect the opponent.
And she picked from the headlines, match day 3 of the Elite One Championship is set to begin today with 5 fixtures on the menu, while 2 other fixtures will be slated for Thursday. Starting today at the Bamenzi Stadium, Aigle Royal of Men will play host to Canon Sportif of Yaoundé at 3:30 p.m. At the Military Stadium here in Yaoundé, the Doves from the South, defending champions Colon Sportif of Jai Lobo, will face against Dynamo Football Club of Douala at 5 p.m. At 3 p.m. in Melong, Stade Renat of Melong will face against Aigle Royal of Mongo. At the same time, Victoria United of Limbe will play host to Kotong Sport of Garwa at the Limbe Centenary Stadium. Over in Banjul, at the Banjul Yaoundé Municipal Stadium, Panthère Sportive Dundee will play host to AS Fortuna Onfu, while coming up on Thursday at the Omnisports Annex 1 Stadium in Yaoundé, the Fireboys of Fazu Elite will face off against newly promoted Unisports of Bafang, while the Abakwa Boys of PWD of Bamenda will play host to Gazelle Football Club of Garoua at the Bamenda 1 Proximity Stadium. Let's now have a summary of this newscast in French language presented for us by Olivier Ndemaipo. Good afternoon.
Bon après-midi, Brian Biwa. Le mois de février est arrivé et avec lui la fête de la jeunesse. En cette année 2026, l'événement est rendu à sa 60e édition. Le chronogramme des activités de la onzaine de la jeunesse prévoit des échanges sectoriels entre jeunes et membres du gouvernement. Et de manière générale, il est question de restaurer un climat de confiance entre ces deux entités de la société camerounaise. Hors de nos frontières, dans l'État du Sud-Soudan, le président de la République Salva Kiir a acté récemment l'entrée dans une commission nationale soudanaise d'une personne décédée il y a plusieurs années. Stewart Sorobo Boudia, de son nom, avait en effet été déclaré mort en 2020, il y a donc 6 années. Et puis sport pour finir, championnat national d'élite 1 2026 de football, la 3e journée est au programme. 7 matchs vont se disputer mercredi et jeudi. Voici des affiches. Aigle de la Menoie, Canon sportif de Yaoundé, PWD de Bamenda, Gazelle de Garoua, Victoria United de Limbe, Coton Sport de Garoua, Stade Renard de Melon, Aigle du Mungo, Colombe FC du Sud, Dynamo de Douala, Faux-Vazu de Yaoundé, Unisport du Wonkam et puis Panthère Dundee contre AS Fortuna de Fou.
And it is on that note that we have reached the end of today's edition of the 2 p.m. news over Reality 8.4 FM. The news was a success thanks to the technical expertise of Salomon Esana. On the cameras, we had Brian Bida for our various social media handles. Production assistance came in from Frinwick Crispin. Script editing we got from Mapala Zita. Editorial coaching Abel Bela Samari. Coordination came in from the station's manager Roger Kiek. And for general supervision, the Reverend Pastor Bisai Emmanuel Noel. For presentation, my name is Biwa Brian, setting up the stage for what is coming up next on Reality 8.4 FM, which is